This lesson is about factors and multiples. These are two concepts that students often get confused. So let's take a look at factors first and find out the differences between factors and multiples. So what are factors? Factors are the numbers we can multiply together to get a certain other number. Every number is made up of factors. They are the small parts that make up the whole. In this multiplication fact or multiplication equation, we can see that there are two factors, 4 and 3. Those two numbers would both be a factor of the number 12 because we multiply them together to get 12. Another way to think about factors is that they are the numbers that can go into a certain number evenly without a remainder. Another term you'll hear is factor pairs. What are factor pairs? Just like a pair of socks, factor pairs are just two factors that go together. They are the sets of two numbers you multiply together to get a certain number. So in our previous example of 4 times 3 equals 12, 4 and 3 together are both one factor pair. 12 actually has three factor pairs. You can multiply 1 times 3 to get 12, so 1 and 12 are a factor pair for 12. 2 and 6, because 2 times 6 equals 12, and our earlier example of 3 and 4. That's a factor pair for 12 because 3 times 4 also equals 12. And how many factors does each number have? There's no set number of factors for all numbers. Every number has a different number of factors. However, every number has at least two factors because, as we know, you can multiply any number times 1 to get the number itself. So 1 and the number itself are a factor pair for every number. Some numbers have only those two factors, and those are called prime numbers. The number 3 would be an example of a prime number because to get 3, the only multiplication you can do of whole numbers is to take 1 times 3 to equal 3. Most numbers, though, have more than two factors, and these are called composite numbers. Let's take a look at the number 12 again. We identified that there were three factor pairs. Let's see how we would go about finding the factors for the number 12. So we can work in order, and we start with the number 1 and think, what can we multiply by 1 to get the number 12? And of course we know we can multiply 12 by 1 to get 12. And then next we take the number 2. What can we multiply by 2 to get the number 12? Well, we can multiply 6 times 2. And then the number 3, we know that we can multiply 4 times 3 to get 12. So now we've worked our way through 1, 2, and 3, and 4 has already popped up as in the pair with 3. So we know that we're done and we've identified all the factors for the number 12. So 12 has 6 factors, and we just list them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. We list each factor once. For the number 12, this is clear, but think about a number like 16, where you could have the fact 4 times 4 equals 16. We'd still only list 4 one time, even though it's used twice in one multiplication fact. So what are multiples? Multiples are the numbers we get when we multiply a given number by each of the counting numbers. So meaning multiplied by 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. An easy way to remember what multiples are is that we can think of the word multiply. Multiples sounds like multiply. To find multiples, we multiply. So let's think about what the first five multiples of the number 2 would be. We just simply work our way through the counting numbers. We take 2 times 1 to get 2. 2 times 2 would give us 4. 2 times 3 would be 6. 2 times 4 would be 8. And 2 times 5 would be 10. So the first 5 multiples of 2 that we found are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. You can see that we can use skip counting to find multiples. The first 5 multiples of 2 are simply just counting by 2's, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You'll probably have some numbers that you're good at skip counting, maybe by 2's, by 5's, or by 10's, or maybe some other number. It's a good skill to have when you're trying to find multiples. So we can skip count by 5 to tell us many multiples of the number 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and we could go on and on and on. Because how many multiples does each number have? It has infinite multiples. If you think about it, you could multiply a number by any other number in the world. You could go on and get as big as you'd like, and that would still be a multiple of that number. So let's review. Factors. Factors are limited and are the small parts that make up the whole number in multiplication. All numbers have at least 2 factors, 1 and the number itself. Those are called prime numbers that only have 2 factors. Composite numbers have more than 2 factors. They have 1 and the number itself, and then many other numbers that can make up that whole number. Multiples, on the other hand, are unlimited and get bigger and bigger the more you multiply.